Most parents have tried everything, counting to 3, taking away toys, getting down to eye level, and doing their best calm voice, while their kid absolutely loses it on the floor of a grocery store, and none of it works. So you raise your voice, and then they cry harder, and then you feel terrible about it for the rest of the day. I've gone deep on this. Cross-cultural research, parenting psychology, first-hand accounts from parents who've lived in Japan, and I pulled out the 11 most practical, most transferable habits from this whole philosophy. Let's get into it. Number 11, discipline in private, not in public. One of the most visible differences between Japanese and Western discipline practices is where and when correction happens. In Japan, public correction is strongly avoided. When a kid acts up on a train or in a park, Japanese parents don't launch into a lecture right there in front of everyone. They'll move to the edge of a train platform before speaking to the child, step away from a restaurant table to a quieter corner, or simply wait until they get home before having any serious disciplinary conversation. Here's why that matters. When you correct a child in public, you add embarrassment to the mix. Now, they're not just upset, they're humiliated. And a humiliated kid doesn't listen, they get defensive, they dig in, and the tantrum gets worse. This isn't avoidance, it's a deeply intentional choice rooted in the cultural value of maintaining dignity for both parent and child. So the next time your kid starts to spiral in public, try this. Don't address the behavior right there. Get somewhere quiet first, even just stepping to the side of the aisle or waiting until you're in the car. You'll be shocked at how much easier the conversation goes when the audience is gone. Number 10, narrate feelings out loud. From infancy, Japanese mothers narrate the emotional impact of their child's actions on others. When you threw that toy, it scared your little sister. Sensei was worried when you didn't line up. This technique, sometimes called empathy-based discipline, builds a child's capacity for perspective-taking long before abstract rule-following is even possible. Most of us skip this step entirely. We say stop that or don't do that, and we expect the child to just understand why. But a 3-year-old doesn't have the brain development to connect their action to someone else's feeling without help. They need you to spell it out slowly, repeatedly, over years. The practical version of this is simple. When your child does something that affects someone else, describe what happened and how it landed. Not in an accusatory way, just in a matter-of-fact narrating way. You're basically doing the emotional translation for them. And over time, they start doing that translation themselves. That's when self-regulation actually starts to develop. Number 9, give them real responsibility. Children in Japan ride the subway alone at age 6, clean their own classrooms, and wait patiently in queues without fussing. That's not a coincidence, and it's not magic. It comes from being given real, meaningful responsibility from a very early age. Japanese parents typically have children clean up their own mistakes, like spilling food or dirtying the floor, as a means of understanding their actions and preventing recurrence. There's no shaming in it. It's just a natural consequence. You made the mess, you clean the mess. Simple. When kids have actual responsibilities, something shifts in how they carry themselves. They feel capable, they feel like they contribute to the household. And a child who feels capable and valued is a child who has way less reason to act out. Tantrums very often come from a feeling of powerlessness. Give them real power, age-appropriate tasks, real jobs, and watch what happens. Number 8, stop rescuing them so fast. This one's hard for a lot of parents, especially if you're naturally nurturing. Among the most quietly radical practices in Japanese parenting and education is mimamoru, a term that translates roughly to watching over. The mimamoru approach covers discipline for infants and toddlers in the context of dangerous child behavior, conflicts with other children, sleep problems, and daily habit building, and experts cite the promotion of child autonomy and avoidance of over-involvement as the core reasons for using it. The practical version is to wait 10 to 30 seconds before saying anything. This approach, watchful waiting, means you're actively observing and staying available, but you're not immediately rescuing them from every small challenge. That space gives their brain the chance to remember, problem solve, and self-correct. Think about what happens when you rush in every time your child struggles. They learn that struggle is a signal to panic and that panic gets a response, so they panic more. But when you hold back just a little, you're teaching them that they can handle it. That's the foundation of emotional regulation. And emotional regulation is what stops tantrums before they start. Number 7, use routine like a tool. Studies show that children are less anxious when given clear instructions and predictable routines. Japanese parenting leans into this hard. The daily structure isn't just for convenience, it's an actual discipline strategy. Rules don't make children unhappy. Having no clear rules is what makes them anxious and stressed. Think about it from your kid's perspective. If they never know what's coming next, their nervous system is always on alert. And an alert nervous system is a tantrum waiting to happen. But when the routine is predictable, same order every morning, same wind down every night, their brain relaxes, and a relaxed brain is a cooperative brain. You don't need to schedule every minute. You just need enough structure that the big transitions are predictable. Waking up, meals, leaving the house, bedtime. Anchor those 4 things and you'll see a noticeable drop in meltdowns within a week or 2. Number 6. Model the behavior, don't just demand it. Here's a big one. Japanese parents understand that kids are observational learners. If you want a calm child, you must be calm. If you want a respectful child, you must be respectful, especially when you're frustrated. And if you don't want your child to scream when they're angry, then you should try not to scream when you're angry. This is the part that makes parents uncomfortable because it turns the mirror around. We want our kids to regulate their emotions, but we haven't always modeled what that looks like. Japanese caregivers believe that if you want a calm child, you must be calm yourself. The parent's own behavior is the primary disciplinary tool. So when you feel yourself getting heated, your kid is refusing to put their shoes on for the 4th time, that moment is actually the most important teaching moment of the day. Not what you say to them, how you handle your own frustration right in front of them. They are watching and they are copying every single time. Number 5, teach the missing skill, not just the consequence. Be honest, when your kid acts out, what's your first instinct? Most of us go straight to stopping the behavior. We threaten, we take things away, we send them to their room. We wait for our kids to act out, then we punish, lecture, or bargain with them. Shitsuke flips this completely. Instead of just saying, don't do that, or stop being naughty, Shitsuke teaches parents to ask one crucial question: what skill does my child need to learn here? This shift in thinking changes everything. Instead of punishing the behavior you don't want, you start actively teaching the skill that they're missing. So when your kid throws a toy, the question isn't, how do I stop this? The question is, what skill don't they have yet? Maybe it's how to express frustration with words. Maybe it's how to ask for help. Maybe it's how to handle losing a game. When you identify the missing skill and teach it directly, the behavior changes at the root. Consequences alone just suppress it temporarily. Number 4, skinship. Physical closeness as a calming strategy. This one sounds almost too simple, but the research behind it is really solid. A practice called skinship in Japanese refers to the bond created through physical contact. Co-sleeping, co-bathing, and constant carrying are not seen as indulgent or developmentally harmful. They are viewed as the essential foundation of trust, security, and emotional attunement that allows children to eventually become confident, independent individuals. The result is that Japanese children develop exceptional self-regulation, the ability to control emotions, wait patiently, and manage frustration earlier than many Western peers. When a child is mid-tantrum, the fastest way to bring their nervous system down is physical contact. Not grabbing them to restrain them, just a hand on the back, a quiet hold, getting physically close and staying calm. You're co-regulating. Your calm nervous system is literally communicating safety to their overwhelmed one. You don't have to say a word. Just be close, be steady, and let the storm pass. Number 3, wa. Teach them how their behavior affects others. Japanese discipline is heavily oriented toward group harmony. The concept of rather than focusing on individual rules and punishments, Japanese parents and teachers consistently return to one central question: how does your behavior affect the people around you? From a very early age, Japanese children are taught that the needs of the group take precedence over individual desires. This value is instilled through constant, gentle reinforcement. And here's the thing, this isn't about suppressing your kid's personality, it's about giving them a framework for understanding why behavior matters. Rules feel arbitrary to a child, but your friend felt sad when that happened. That's concrete, that lands. Start weaving this into everyday moments, not as a guilt trip, but as simple awareness. When you grabbed that, your brother didn't get a turn and he felt left out. You're building empathy, and empathy is one of the most powerful self-regulation tools a child can have. Kids who can feel what others feel are kids who think twice before acting out. Number 2, gaman. Teach them to sit with discomfort. Japanese parents practice something called gaman, which means patient endurance. And they don't just practice it, they teach it to their kids from a young age. The idea is that discomfort is not an emergency. Frustration is not a crisis. You can feel hard feelings and still stay in control. Most tantrums happen because a child has never been taught that they can survive an uncomfortable feeling. They feel frustrated and their brain says, "This is unbearable, do something now." And they do, loudly. The way you teach gaman is actually by not fixing every uncomfortable moment for them. Let them wait. Let them be bored for a few minutes. Let them feel the frustration of a puzzle that's too hard before you jump in. Calm behavior cannot be demanded. It develops over time through repeated experiences, guidance, and a sense of security. Every time they sit with a hard feeling and come out the other side, they build a little more tolerance. And that tolerance is what keeps the next tantrum from happening. Number 1, amae. Build the emotional foundation first. Here it is, the one that changes everything, and the one almost nobody talks about when they list Japanese parenting tips. Amae, a word with no direct analog in other languages, translates roughly as one's desire to be loved or simply attachment. Amae is the foundation of the relationship between parent and child. It means that children can rely on their parents and their love completely. This is not emotional distance. It is a different cultural expression of care. At home, Japanese parenting is typically warm, physically close, and deeply emotionally engaged. The same mother who barely reacted to her child's public meltdown is the one spending hours doing crafts, reading stories, and playing imaginatively at home. Here's why this matters for tantrums specifically. A study conducted by American and Japanese scientists found a connection between an encouraging upbringing style and children's behavior. Researchers found that parents' positive attitudes reduce the risk of problematic behavior in kids and improve the behavior of children with developmental disorders. When a child feels deeply, unconditionally secure in your love, not love that disappears when they misbehave, not love that comes with conditions, their nervous system is calmer at baseline. They don't have to act out to get your attention. They don't have to test boundaries to feel safe. The emotional foundation is already there, and a child who feels genuinely secure is a child who is much, much easier to guide. Shutsuke is about getting ahead of behavioral issues rather than responding to them. And amae is the soil that makes all of that possible. You can use every technique on this list, but if the emotional foundation isn't there, if your kid doesn't feel safe and loved at their core, the techniques are going to work a lot less. So here's the full picture. You've got 11 habits: discipline in private, narrate feelings, give real responsibility, stop rescuing too fast, use routine as a tool, model the behavior you want, teach the missing skill, use physical closeness to co-regulate, teach group awareness, build tolerance for discomfort, and build the emotional foundation first. None of these are complicated. None of them require yelling. Japanese teachers rarely raise their voices, and Japanese parents seem remarkably patient, not because they're permissive, but because they're playing a long game. You started this video probably thinking about how to stop tantrums, but what you actually walked away with is something bigger. A whole different way of thinking about what discipline even is. Discipline is not just about correcting behavior. It's about shaping how children understand and manage themselves. And that changes everything. If this helped you, share it with another parent who needs it, because honestly, most of us were never taught any of this. And we're all just figuring it out as we go.